transport modes, and including ourselves, we are very open to people who want to discuss, they want to go into the transport space, which asset they can invest in, and then we can see how we make it profitable.
Okay.
I hope I answered the question. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Please, briefly also on Seraphina's question. We have some other panel discussion as well. And then there are a lot of questions also coming up. So if we could touch on it briefly. Seraphina, who is taking Seraphina's?
Yeah.
Okay, Sadiq.
Yeah, on Seraphina's question, I think the most important thing is the passion that you have. Hold on to the passion. For me, I attended Accra Academy, and then when I went there, I was asked what I would like to do in future. I told them I would like to be an automotive engineer or a motorsport engineer with automotive design as well. So I now fell in between the state of having to read general science and then visual arts. From junior high school, I was good in science and math. So my struggle was art. So I had to take visual arts and then elective maths and then physics. So the preparation started right from there. And then from Accra Academy, I went to KNUST. I needed to really understand fabrication. With my background, it was a bit difficult getting into mechanical engineering, but that did not stop me. I accepted the metallurgy study and then mastered in fabrication with metals, how to understand properties and also fabricate with it. Because the car you see, the exterior is largely metal component. It's just now that some portion of it is being engineered with other materials like plastics and then carbons. So from KNUST, I had the chance to work with Japan Motors. I worked with Silver Star. Then from there, the opportunities just started coming. I started advising the government on specifications because I was doing nationwide tour to understand the road system. Then I learned vehicle dynamics on my own from the house, watch YouTube videos, watch lectures. MIT, for instance, they have their lectures online. You can watch vehicle dynamics online for free. And then you can learn all the equations and all the mathematics attached to it because vehicle dynamics is fully mathematics and then physics. So if you understand it from that point of view, you get to the industry, practicing is easy. You easily gel. So from there, then I sat for a second degree entrance exams for mechanical engineering, motorsports, and then automotive for the UK system. I tried 3 times. I passed on the 3rd time. And luckily, I was given partly scholarship. And then that gave me the opportunity to go because I could finance the rest of it. So if you are passionate on something and you keep working on it, I believe that it will all come together. And also your experience with people in the past, they can also make some recommendations for you. And I'm back home, so you now have me as well. So you can ask me any question. I can give you my email address, and then we can share ideas. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Stephanie, I hope your question has been answered. Thank you. And again, you have a support system from University of Mines and Technology. So these are all resource people who are willing to help you make the right decision. Thank you. So due to lack of time, please, let's be very brief with our questions and also our answers.
Okay, my name is Atanga Foster from the University of Mines and Technology. I just graduated a few months ago, and I studied mechanical engineering. And I have most of my lectures here. And my question is, how are we going to gather data from a trotro driver or a simple mechanic who is working at the roadside and a trotro driver who gathered parts just to start the car and gain income? How are we going to use AI to gather those data? And even if we are able to gather those data, do we have the expertise or the model to execute those plans? Thank you. And one more thing. Okay, I'm currently seeking for NSS slot. So if there's a company or maybe any of the professors who is willing to secure my NSS postings for me, I'll be very grateful. Thank you.
Of course, you needed to take the opportunity to ask. You never know. Who do you direct your question to? Do you want to, Professor Samuel, do you want to tackle his question?
Hi, sorry. We started the engagement you asked us to do. Can he repeat the question, please?
Briefly.
My question was, how are we going to use AI to gather data from a trotro driver whose car is not properly fixed and he still uses it on the road, and a simple mechanic by the roadside, he doesn't have the accurate equipment to operate, and then we are saying that we'll gather data from those people. How are we going to execute that? And then even if we are able to gather those data, how are we going to, let's say, do we have the expertise and then the models to execute those plans? And then my national service too.
Okay, thank you very much. First, there's a need for digital illiteracy. Like he said, he was talking about the fact that some of them cannot speak English. But even we, the educated, some of us are digitally illiterate. So we had to look at their digital skills. That is one. And don't forget that almost everyone has a smartphone, Android. I mean, our search, I've been to a mechanic workshop several times. Well, I have cars which will always break down due to our roads, and they all have mobile phones. So a simple GPS application on the phone will collect the location, will collect the movement, the mileage, all the data. If there are any interactions and the rest, these mechanics need to be trained to enter all these metadata responses, all this onto the app on the phone. So with a simple phone, collecting all this data is so easy. Nevertheless, like we said, it needs training and support and investment, or government and private partners coming in. But the mobile phone alone is enough. And don't forget that vehicles manufactured recently have inbuilt electronic system which collect all the import that we said. Yeah, I would like him to continue.
Most vehicles you see, they do all have ECU. That's the electronic computer unit. So it stores everything in it. It actually reads how you're driving. I'm just going to praise some of the vehicles here. BMW that you're seeing is the first manufacturer to introduce adaptive ECU system, whereby it actually learns how you drive, how you speed, how you brake. So it knows exactly how individuals drive these cars, and then is able to store fault codes in the car. So it gives you well abreast in time when the car is going to break down. So you have your check engine lights, service lights. That's data. So you, the one who is using the car, if you can put these things into proper records, you're making data of the car that you're using. So basically, even if you don't have smartphone or you don't have the technology to take the data, you can study your car yourself. So you know when you're changing oil, when you're doing suspension works, when you're doing exterior jobs, vent and air conditioning. So you'll be able to tell as in when the breakdowns are happening. Then you are recording with time, real time, of the faults. So I think that it's not really complicated as we see it. we can just start small. Thank you.
Yes, I want to add up to the data issue. My brother talked about the fact that, and the one who asked the question talked about the fact that you have a vehicle which is not well serviced and a roadside mechanic. In fact, over the years, we have been gathering data. You start from a mechanic. The very first day you are introduced to the shop, you don't know anything. Day 2, you are able to fix a tie. Data, because we are keeping the data in our memory. The point we are now talking about is the fact that we cannot remember everything that we have learned. So let's document. So you fix the vehicle. For instance, I recently had a breakdown of my vehicle, just louver blade. It will not go down, but I realized that somebody was able to fix it. It went down, it will not raise to the top. So I sent it to a different auto electrician. He checked it and he said the motor is faulty. And I told you that no, the motor is so strong, and within a short time it was able to raise and lower. But here lies the case, it has lowered, it cannot raise. So I don't think the motor is faulty. Rather, check the roller, check this, check this. He spent so long a time. In fact, he understood me. He spent so long a time trying all means, and eventually he realized that it wasn't the motor that is faulty. And eventually he was able to solve the problem within about 2 hours. He has solved that problem. The louver blade can now roll up. That is data. He has gathered knowledge, but the problem is he has not documented it. The next time that same vehicle develops a problem, I send it to him. This time around, he'll be able to solve it, but with less time, probably less than an hour or less than 30 minutes. That is data. So if we are able to, even without the mobile phones, look at the environment of these roadside mechanics. The environment is so rugged that sometimes the mobile phones that they have, the touch phones and all that, they don't last. So most of them resort to the keypad type. So if you are using these to store data, eventually you get fed up with the use of mobile phone. But a small pocket book can do the magic. Let's document that today I worked on this vehicle. Let's say BMW X5 series. This was a problem. This is what I did. This is what I did. I bought this part. I fixed it. It didn't work. And later I saw that there is something that needs to be done. And I got the right part. Once you document this, you are gathering data. So that if the time you are able to get the time to actually document it or maybe transfer it to the electronic media, that is what we are talking about. So data is being gathered day in and day out. But the human mind has a lot of problems to keep all the information that we have gathered. And so it calls for documentation. So my brother, this is the data we are talking about. You write, you document, you put things in check. And before you realize, sometimes you may not even be there. You can tell your other mechanic that check my book. This is how I fixed it. If he is able to follow through, you'll be able to fix the vehicle. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Dr. John, and thank you. I'm unable to take more questions at this juncture because you can all bear with me that this has been a very elaborative and insightful session. And we have other panel discussions coming up, so we would want to make way for that discussions as well. And at those points, we could also ask questions. So we'd like to, please, a round of applause again for our panelists. Sadiq from Heavy Duty, Professor Charles, who left, Professor Samuel, Dr. John as well. We say thank you. And to myself, thank you, right? So at the end of it all, we all got to understand that the public-private partnership is not the one. It's not just geared towards one side, but we need to be intentional about it. It has to be data-driven with support from the academia as well. And it has to be very collaborative from different aspects, spare parts, automobile, what have you, and so that we can all achieve one common goal. And government also have to be intentional and also bring on some reforms and incentives to help in financing. As Michael said, it's very difficult. One of the key challenges he raised was that it is very difficult for them to access funds. And so we look at that also. And We talked about the capacity training, which is also a very important aspect of it, which we all believed will happen. And for your questions and your submissions too were very relevant to this discussion. So together we want to say thank you, and let's hope for a better Ghana, a safe Ghana, a sustainable Ghana, and then with a future that we can all hope and like. Congratulations to all of us. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Please, whilst they take a leave of us, let's appreciate them. They've been here since morning, putting thoughts together. Let's keep appreciating them. They are around. You can network with them. Yes. Network with them. Learn from them, okay? Yes. On this note, I'll be... On this note, I'll be moving swiftly to the second panel discussion that will be headed by my other co-moderator.
afternoon. I hope you are doing good. And I hope I'm vocal enough because this is going to be a very long and interesting conversation. So, okay, this is your call. You think we should take probably a 2-minute breather and just like reorganize our thoughts? Then we go into the next panel. Is that a good idea? Or we should just go on? Perfect. That's the energy I was actually looking for. So thank you so much. Right. So we are going into the very next session of this panel discussion. And before I introduce our very distinguished panelists, I would first want to connect with you and ask how you've been doing. I hope this session has been great because you need to buckle up. There's a lot coming, a lot more coming. My name is Rodalab Abba Bedu, but on stage, please call me Abba. And one thing about my panel discussions are that I love a very engaging one. I love that we all share our ideas, because yes, there are extinguished panelists that are going to be sitting here very soon, but you also are extinguished. And so you have a whole lot of contributions, I believe, to make this very, very interesting session successful. So without much ado and much I say, I would go to introduce our panel for this session. First on the list, we'll be introducing Mr. Michael Addison, Chief Engineer, Ghana Railway Authority. Yes, please, an applause would work, yes. You're welcome. Thank you. All right. Now, for second, we're going to introduce Mr. Sadiq Koli, Senior Engineer at Ghana Heavy Equipment Company. Mr. Sadiq, if you're here, I would love to have you back. We know you were here just a panel away, but it would be great to have you on this very one as well. So please, would appreciate you find your way back up here with all due respect. Okay, I think Mr. Sadiq is in the middle of, so we're just going to go to the next panelist. Now, next on our list, Mr. Kofi Akoto. Mr. Kofi Akoto, could you please assist me with, could you please, so you are Sadiq. So next on the list is Mr. Kofi Akoto. I wanted to, transparency. This was a little last minute, so please, let's do this together. I wanted to know exactly how I should introduce you. Amazing. And last, we have Mr. Ninoy, founder of Transform Transport Action. Please, we're not giving up. Are we tired? Please, let's encourage our panelists, because this is going to be another interesting session. I can promise you that. I can definitely promise you that. Okay, now that our panelist is here, I'm going to sit down and we start this session. Thank you very much. Great. Okay, so I will start by introducing what this session is about, so we all have a fair idea of what we are going to talk about, and we get comfortable and dive into a very interesting session. So professionally putting it, this session is basically about alternative transport, domestic airline, water and railways. The second thing that we are going to look at, which is actually in relation to alternate transport, would be charting Ghana's pathway to sustainable mobility, policy frameworks for alternative transport and active urban mobility. All this I have said is basically about the future of transport, innovation, and also how Ghana can be fast going even in the few years to come. So we have over here a very amazing set of professionals that are so well vested in sharing such things that we need to understand about how the future of transport looks like and the future of alternate transport even specifically. I hope we have a great time and I hope we enjoy the session. I'm going to start by introducing our panelists, then we get to know who they are and connect with them on an even deeper level. So on my very left, we have Mr. Sadiq. I'll give him the opportunity to actually introduce himself. You already know him, but it doesn't hurt to introduce him again.
Okay. Hello. I'm Sadiq Koli Abdurrahim. I'm a mechanical engineer and an motorsport engineer. I'm with Ghana Heavy Equipment and then Ministry of Transport and then Trade. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Next to Mr. Sadiq, we have...
My name is Kofi Okwampa Akoto. I work in the insurance industry, currently serving as Assistant General Secretary for the Insurance Brokers Association of Ghana. I work on insurance committees for the Insurance Commission. I'm the PRO, immediate past PRO for the Chartered Insurance Institute of Ghana, and I also serve as a consultant for the Insurance Awareness Coordinators Group. I'm the general manager for Akoto Risk Management Limited. We are exhibiting here at the fair, and so when you see, don't follow the norm. Get tailored solutions. We are talking about Akoto Risk and what we do. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Moving on, we have.
All right, so my name is Ninoy Omabo. I'm founder of Transform Transport Accra. We are a policy advocacy and research organization that's thinking beyond dependence on four-wheeler cars to diversify transport in Ghana. I'm also a fellow with Clean Mobility Collective and a member of UNEP's Active Mobilities Network. Thank you.
Great.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Engineer Michael Addison. I'm from the rail space of the country, Ghana.
Amazing. So as we can, I believe we all heard our panelists, and we realized that they actually have so much to offer with this topic that we are going to discuss briefly. Now, I want us to understand that this particular panel is basically about three major things: about education, about innovation, and also about technology. So basically, these three things is what is going to guide our conversation. Now, as I said earlier, I love to engage the audience as well, because that is basically what would make us be able to share ideas really briefly. Now, please show by hand if in the last maybe 1 year, in the last year, you've actually joined a rail to have to go around. Maybe you're going through a train or something. Show by hand if that has been something that you've moved to, please. Maybe you've sat through a train to go to work, to go somewhere. Okay, so that's one hand I'm seeing. To be very honest, it's just one hand. Wow. Okay, so this is going to make an even more interesting conversation, because you're going to talk about how much you're going to actually incorporate such a transformative agenda into the coming years as a country. Now, if it's about railways, I think it's very obvious who I would firstly direct my first question to. So I'm now starting to learn your names. So please, if you could introduce yourself, so in the subsequent questions I can flow with it. So yes, please, can we give it up for him, please? Thank you very much. So the question now is that, how do you see the future of railway innovation even in the next 10 years in Ghana? How do you see the future of the railway innovation? Yeah.
From the past government and to the current government, I think they've all come to understand the position of railway in the development of the country as a whole. And I think they are putting measures in place to help us to be able to get in the investment that we need to be able to build our railway.
Okay.
They both have come up with railway master plans. It means that they are looking at doing that. And I think the future should be exciting.
Okay. So I believe we heard him, because please let me know if you are hearing us clearly so that we can prompt the technical team to increase the volume. Please let me know if you can hear us clearly. Okay, perfect. Now, thank you for your submission. I'm actually looking for something more. So I would pass the question back to you to really ask or look into, in the past years, we know that the railway institution or the railway infrastructure was really going on well, was really effective even around the Kufuor times, but then it shut down so massively. And we want to know what's happened, what truly happened, what caused the shutdown, and what's the way forward in this particular sector.
Okay, so what is the main problem of the railway system in this country is investment.
Okay.
The railway is a very capital-intense investment space. It's not, let's say, road is not cheap, but railway is way cheaper. So most governments normally direct their attentions to roads because one railway project can eat up a whole road sector's budget for the year. So the issue has to do with funding and then getting the right people to partner the government, because the government alone can't do it. Yes, so it's about funding.
Great. So this is really a very interesting point, because it's the railway organization, the railway system is basically something that is so reliable as compared to the domestic ways that we transit from a place to the other. So I know this about railway, but I would actually ask for the view of Mr. Nyokoi in this aspect. One thing I'm going to do is we're going to diversify our answers. So even whether or not that is where you are in, there's obviously a take you would have on it, and so we'll move in that level. Yes. So let me also know your take on the future of railway system for your personal point of view. Yes.
Yeah, I think it's very important that we diversify transport and move beyond dependence on car infrastructure kind of moving around in Ghana. I think that one of the major problems is that there's a lot of political involvement in road infrastructure. So I know for sure that investment exists within the Africa Development Bank, for instance, if we want to diversify our transport. But this is partly because politicians are involved. You know, people are sponsoring political parties, and so when they win, they intend to give contracts to their political affiliates to be the ones to manage road infrastructure. So we just keep going in cycles. There may be a problem with capital, but I for sure know that, you know, investment exists in different places, that if we are truly intentional about establishing our railway infrastructure system and diversify through and through, this could be achieved through continual dialogue and, you know, engaging to find a solution to it.
Amazing. That's a very interesting take. Thank you for that. Mr. Akoto, I would also like to have your take on this, the future of railway in Ghana, what you think about it. Yes.
I think that railway is going to bring a lot of benefits to our system, or Ghana in particular, in the area of one economy, the economy or the economics of, you know, the person or the country in general. Why am I saying this? Currently, let's take Accra alone. You want to travel from Circle to Amasaman or just in Sawom, and you are using the express road, the middle road. Statistics shows that 95% of our movement or mobility is by transport. Yeah. So definitely, if any vehicle is moving from, also manage our time in terms of how long it takes for us to move from home to work. Smaller cars, yeah, SUVs, and the buses to be able to move, whilst cargo and other pedestrians who are traveling long distances are moved away from the road. Just like my brother from Railway said, it takes away a huge budget from the transportation side to invest in one area. But if it is done, it is done well. We are able to transit from port to port or country to country or region to region using the outskirts of the road, so that we free buses that is able to transit a large number of people from the corridors of our, environment, yeah, to the business district or the working area, and vice versa. Yeah. On the other hand, we want to do interregional, communication, for want of a better word. Let's say I'm staying in, you stayed in London, so you can travel 1 hour, let's say between Cape Coast and Accra, sitting in a train, yeah, or tram, and you can get the fastest train to move you from Cape Coast to Accra and back, and you can work. You can stay in Cape Coast, work in Accra, and go back the same day, yeah, just by traveling 1 hour. Same distance or the same time that somebody will travel from Circle to Amasaman using 1 hour, you will go to Cape Coast by train, and then we've all reached our destination. Yeah. So if you're able to invest in this area, we are going to save a lot of time. We are going to save a lot of money in terms of the economy. We are going to live a healthier life because we are not going to stay longer in traffic and all the stress that goes with it. And a whole lot of benefit will come to us. Yeah. So I think that when we invest in the railway sector is going to benefit that. Also, in my area, in the area of insurance, of course, the accidents on the road is going to reduce. We are going to have people live longer life instead of being killed by accidents on the road, and also have a better life. Thank you.
Thank you so much for such a very elaborative concept. Now we get to understand that, of course, there's a lot of gap in the railway industry that could cover even through regions in the country that would benefit us in the long run. Before I move to ask for the very view of Mr. Sadiq, who is just right beside me, I would love to introduce our last panel, last but obviously not least, panelist for this session. Goes by the name Dr. Augustine Quartin, University of Mines and Tech lecturer. He's an aerospace engineer. So please let's give it up for him as he joins us. I believe I would have to get up and have my panelists sit. Okay, they are all right, perfect. Okay, you're very welcome. Before we move on, we would obviously have to allow the opportunity for our very last panelist to really introduce himself. I know I said a lot, but I'm sure there's always something more. Kindly.
Hello, good afternoon. Yeah, Dr. Augustine Quartin. I'm with University of Mines and Technology, the best mining university in Africa. If you need the best, you come to us. An aerospace engineer by training and happen to be with the mechanical engineering department. So today, at least in our conversation on alternative transportation means, I'll be shedding light on the option of flying passengers and cargo as an alternate to our usual road transportation. Yes, so stay tuned as we go on.
Thank you very much. I said there was obviously some more to be added, and there definitely was. So before Mr. Augustine came in, we're going to receive the suggestions from Mr. Sadiq. So basically, before you came in, we're discussing the future of railways in the country and how, of course, Ghana fits in such a developmental show. So yes, kindly, please.
Okay, so the sector of railway is a big one. The capital needed to make it workable is really high. So that's where my first point in the first discussion comes in, the BOT system. We all have to work together in finding solid partners who, when they come down, will get a stake in whatever investment they are doing. So BOT is basically building, you operate, and then you transfer to the government or to the people after you have recouped enough of your investment. So it's an area that needs attention.
Yeah.
So we all in our little ways have to try as much as we can, speak to bodies or institutions that can come on board to support the government. Government alone cannot do it, but I know government is also trying, and everyone's idea is welcome. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Could you also get a very short view of what you think the future of Ghana's railway system is? Yes.
So for railway in Ghana and our future, I'll talk about it from even what I see on our roads. When you stand on the corridors of UMAT and just look on our highway, it will not take you more than a minute. You spot a huge 80-ton truck carrying sand all the way from Awaso to Takrade. And we send about one truck per minute just passing. Okay. This is huge in terms of tonnage. And it means the market is there. It's not like you are going to build the railway network and you not get market and you're going to say, so it's redundant. The market is there. So if we would just want to put in some investment, we know that the future is going to be worth it. And to add to what my colleague had said earlier on, even the insurer had said, the more of these heavy loads we are removing from our roads, we are making our roads safer. And from the engineering point of view, it removes even that heavy load burden from the ground support. So that's how we are able to get the duration, the durability of the road, even to the maximum level. So if we really want to progress as a nation, integrating all the things we have, sending logistics here and there, we cannot do it without growing our railway sector. It must be part of what it takes for us to grow. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Please, let's give it up for them. Yeah, I do this so that I believe that we are still here and we are following. So please, it will be happening a little bit more than you would expect. So I know that, yes, we had focused a little bit on railways, but this was just to open the conversation so that we get to see each other's points of views, one another's point of views about how important it is to revive the railway systems. Because, of course, from all that they have gathered, it's really important because it saves time, and even with moving around, it saves so much time, and it makes everything just less cost effective. So I believe it's very important the railway industry is really tackled aggressively. Now, we're moving on to the aspect of alternative transport, where I would first direct the question to Mr. Nikoi. I'm sorry. Mr. Ninoy, in relation to his idea and even his suggestion about alternative transportation, and its importance in Ghana's ecosystem.
All right. So at the moment, what is happening is that, Ghana's emission level from vehicle emissions is 11 times higher than the WHO standards for pollutant to be in the atmosphere. This is because of our dependency on ICE vehicles in the way we move around. The other part of it is that a lot of our emission levels, 40% of Ghana's carbon budget is from transport. And so if we want to unlock capital as a country in the growing, industry of sustainability, we need to think about alternative forms of transport, because there's capital to be unlocked to do some good and to lean more towards more sustainable pathways. And so the core for moving, it's very important. I was speaking to a friend recently, and he decided so his mom passed away, and he decided to go and check autopsy to see the reason why his mother died. He found out that his mother died out of an air pollution-related disease. Because of the nature of pollutants and how small they are, we don't see how much it's causing to us as a people. Everybody's seeing it as the norm. Okay, if it was malaria, we'll all be running to the hospital, But because we don't see pollutants, we don't see how it affects us, nobody's taking care of it. So it's become important. We've spoken about railways, but there are different opportunities, right?
Definitely.
There's opportunities in cycling. If there's cycling infrastructure from Ayimensa to Medina, instead of taking Trotsky and going to work, and there's an EV, electric two-wheeler EV, I'll just take my EV. Wahoo EV today is around 24,000 cedis. Yenko is also selling theirs for about 14,000. I can take my EV because I don't have to paddle for a long time. I ride from Ayimensa to Medina, where my workplace is. So the call for diversifying transport is very important. It has its economic benefits also to government. Because at the moment, government is spending a lot of money on health consequences of air pollution. If we have less vehicles in our country and it's diversified to have cycling, it's diversified to have mass public transit, and it's EV powered, it could do a lot of benefit to us. So that's where we are coming from as a person, as an organization in terms of diversifying transport.
Yeah.
It has its health benefits, it has its economic benefits to government, and we need to think beyond the small short-term benefits that we are thinking of now. I think that for me, the other part of it is that if government is not doing it, we need more privatized initiative to do something about it, right? Can 2 or 3 big partners or companies here at the moment work together to expand mass public transit fleets that we have in the country instead of depending on Ayalolo? Because what we've seen is that the public's run mass public transit system, Ayalolo and so on, has failed because we have bad managers as a country. Can we think around more? My brother here spoke about, BOT. Is it BOT? I think that we need to think more on the privatized side because unfortunately for government, they think of it as public goods and they don't think about the profit models and potential, finance to be unlocked along the way. So we need more individuals, more corporates thinking around how to diversify a transport system. Maybe should infrastructure be people-led or organization-led also? That's something to think about. But that's the case for it, that we can't depend on government at the moment. And so, I hope I'm able to make a good case for diversified transport.
Right. So with what is being said, I want to pose a question to you. Would you like the idea of mobilizing through an electric bicycle or an electric scooter so that you don't have to heavily rely on the four-wheel transportation that can be very dicey with all the traffic that happens? Would you like that idea? I mean, it doesn't have to be an answer specifically. It's really rhetoric, but then just to something to think about. Now, moving on to the next question, we're going to go a bit into, since it's covering sustainability, innovation, and development in the long run, we're going to see how best we're going to maneuver our way so that we talk about all these things whilst addressing the very important issues from government sector to the private sector. So I would pose this question to Mr. Sadiq in relation to the government's policies about alternative transports and what you really think about it or how you feel about it.
Yeah, thank you. I will not be able to say much about the complete work that has been done at various sectors because the entire government machinery for transportation falls under railway. We have those for the blue, and then we have those for the normal road. So it's a bit difficult to say that. But what I can say is those already in the system, like my brother here, the name, Ni, what Ni is doing, they do research. That's where we can work together with them. Whatever research that they have done, if they bring it to us or we sit down together to work together on it, we can build a model and use that to help the system in the transportation sector. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you very much. So we are going to move on into urban mobility and sustainability. So now I would direct the question to you, Mr. Kwarteng, basically about how active transports fit within city planning frameworks. And this is basically because of your background in aero engineer. I want you to help us understand and bridge the gap between how the future of traveling by air within within the local spheres, like how you actually see it happening. Do you think it's something that could happen? Because this is basically a session about imagining the future and imagining how innovative Ghana can get, how more innovative Ghana can get in the aerospace. Yeah.
Thank you very much. Let's say when we talk about the technology, it is feasible. The major challenge has always been other things like the economics. Okay, so let's say if you have to connect someone between Accra and say Konongo or Kumasi, which by road is over 5 to 7 hours. If we want to do that by air, then we see the convenience that it comes with. You can just do that trip, go do business, and come back by close of day, instead of having to arrive a day before, spend 2 nights before you come back the third day. So we'll see those feasibilities there. Because let's say within Accra, it's not viable to be flying from, say, Amasaman to Kotoka and all that. Because then the infrastructure that is going on, having to do your pre-departure checks, takeoff and all the landing, that one doesn't make sense. But if you are moving from one city to the other, then that is feasible. And we can look at it. One challenge is in the airline industry, the profit margins are very thin. The net profit margin, operating profit margin, so we have the operational profit margin and the net. The net is around 3.7, it's less than 4%. So it means that whatever investment you are putting in, at the end of the year, give or take, your profit margin is not so big. And so it becomes very susceptible to any form of economic challenges. If we try to take a cue from the past of even private domestic airlines that have tried to operate in the past 20 years, let's say my colleagues here might be able to talk about CityLink, Amtrak Air, Starbo. These are airlines that have been operational and gone defunct in the past 20 years. Yeah, and now we have good African World Airlines, but you would see, even perception-wise, for the citizenry, how many of us are willing to patronize air travel between city to city? Yeah.
So now the backup question would be, or the backup conversation would be around how, so it means that it's not actually something that we can look forward to, even with aero traveling around in the jurisdictions of probably from Accra to Amasamai, or from Oibi to Dodo. We cannot do short-term travels, but then we can do longer-term travels within the regions. Now, this brings me to the question and to the address that most of us are a little, like most of the Ghanaians are actually discouraged about the idea of traveling by flights because of this prejudices about the fact that it's too expensive and it's just not something that would really work within their budget. So how would you see the future of inclusive transport in the aspects of aerospace? Yeah. So.
Thank you. So in terms of the costs, it's quite expensive beyond the budget of the average citizen. So that one we can take. Now, air travel can become cheaper in terms of making it inclusive when we are able to improve patronage, right? In that case, then you are able to enjoy the benefits of economies of scale. And at the point, we might not have the customer interest in it so much in a way that would even encourage investors to put in more. Because maybe if you would ask the management of CityLink why you guys went defunct, they might tell you some of these things. Because once you, for instance, if you go on the ticketing app right now and you want to buy, say, a ticket to Takoradi, if your flight is even in the next 10 months, you can buy a ticket now. Even if one person makes a payment to be on that flight, the airline operator, you are obliged to take him. You are obliged to take one person in that 100-seater aircraft. Because if you cancel, you have, you'll be surcharged by the civil aviation and all that. So imagine, and you are not getting patronage up to 50% capacity. And with time, you are looking at an industry with profit margins around 4%. You can easily go down. So it will take a hand-in-hand improvement in, say, our infrastructure, education, and other policies that will tilt the drive in that direction. Else, if you go in one direction, for instance...
Technically, yeah.
Right. So, water transport has been one of the areas that personally I believe that we should have a lot of investment in. One, it is an area where you can transport a large number of goods at the same time from one point to the other. And from the previous discussion, we could hear the blue transport, traveling by sea or by lake, whichever, to the ship to get goods from an international country is the cheapest. And I don't know about its safety, but then its safety can be guaranteed. Apart from that, apart from its movement for commercial purposes, it's also an area where we have beautiful leisure. You can enjoy beautiful leisure, on river bodies or low-lying water bodies where we have the boat transport or the waters, jet ski and all that, where you have a lot of entertainment in that area and then you get to enjoy from that aspect. Yet, it also comes with its own risks. But whichever way that you look at it, risks are always supported by some sort of insurance. So when I say insurance, let it not be a nuisance to you, because whatever that you invest in, if it's a ship, the vessel that is carrying your goods and the goods that are being carried, depending on who the owner is, one person has to carry or buy an insurance one way or the other. The ship owner needs to buy insurance to protect the ship itself in case it gets sunk or it's attacked by any moving article or the perils of the sea or the water, or he also has liability towards the goods that is being carried. But depending on the contract that you have with whoever is moving goods from one point to the other, either from Thailand, from UK, or from Dubai, wherever, to Ghana, those goods that are being carried needs to be protected. Otherwise, if anything goes wrong and you should lose any of those goods, your money is gone totally. So we have marine insurance, what we call marine cargo